Welcome to Christian Truth and God's Medicine. This is episode 3, The Basics. I want to talk to you today about some things that you really need to know if you're going to start working with God's medicine for it to be effective, for it to properly work. These are the things you're going to need to know. Now, the first thing that I want to talk to you about is forgiving your healer. Whoever it is that's helping you work on getting well, if you're going to a naturopath, a DO, even an MD that practices natural medicine, a DC, a chiropractor, or just someone who works in nutrition and natural health care, whoever your natural health care provider is, I want to ask that you forgive them and be gentle and easy with them. And I'll tell you why I make this request. I've seen a lot of people make the very same mistake, which is when they do Western medicine, they will tend to give their doctor lots of grace. If they may get angry if the doctor gives them a wrong medicine or something that causes a reaction, but they still go back to that same doctor and they'll do it over and over and over. However, I have not seen that same attitude with natural health care practitioners. What I generally see is the first time a person gets what they believe to be a bad reaction, they quit whatever it was they were taking or doing, or they give up on their practitioner. And I want to suggest that this is a mistake. Your natural health care practitioner needs chances just like your doctor did. And they're probably going to work in a fashion very much like a good car mechanic will do. And that is, they're going to look for the easiest thing to solve first. If your car's overheating, you can take out and replace the radiator, which may cost you hundreds or in some cars even thousands of dollars. Or you could look at the thermostat and see if it's something wrong with your $3 or $4 thermostat. So a good car mechanic will start with the thermostat, and since it's only a few bucks, he'll try to treat that first. And if he changes the thermostat and that doesn't work, then he'll look for something else. So your natural health care practitioner is probably going to work in much the same way. They're going to try to find the easiest route of clearing up the problem before they go into a big expansive program, unless they have seen some kind of indication in you that tells them straight off, this is going to be a long, hard deal. And in that case, they very well may start with a very comprehensive and aggressive program. But however the case, whether it's, starting gently with something they believe may be easy to handle, or whether they jump in with a comprehensive program, I'm going to ask that you give your natural health care practitioner as much grace as you would give a medical doctor. Don't give up on them the first time that you feel something bad. When you feel something bad, that's the time to get a hold of them, because something's happening. And it may be something very good that's happening, and you just don't recognize it as that. So I want to encourage you that as you, begin to heal, whether you are your own healer, you work with the internet, or you have somebody else, be forgiving with it and give it chances, because there may be something going on there that you mistake for being a disaster when it's actually not. It may be just a cha-cha. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk to you about, the next thing that you really need to know if you're going to get well, is that we are all individuals. We're all built different. We're all made different. And we all respond differently to different things. So this may throw your practitioner, or it may throw you. You may get some reaction you weren't expecting. And it may just be due to your own unique makeup. Now, the other thing is that when you're dealing with health and wellness, you want to focus on the entire body. You want to look at a whole body approach. Let's don't focus on one organ or one issue. Let's try to take the individual as a whole. When you do that, you're going to be much more likely to find the answer to your problem. Now, another thing I want you to be aware of, that you must be aware of if you're going to make yourself well, is the amount of supplements or natural solutions or formulas that you may have to take in order to get well. Now, I've often seen people with an overnight bag full of drugs, and they're perfectly content to take that entire overnight bag, even though these drugs, this sorcery, is causing more problems than they could imagine. But seldom do you see that with nutritional supplements, especially with new people. When people are just starting to get out into natural solutions and natural health care, they may, for example, hear that, oh, hey, supplement XYZ is good for condition ABC. And they try it and it doesn't work, and they say, oh, natural health stuff doesn't work. Well, maybe it does work. They just didn't need that nutrient. Maybe they needed a different nutrient. Maybe they didn't take enough of that. Maybe they needed a higher dosage, or they needed to take it longer, or they needed to take it in conjunction with other supplements. Maybe it wasn't their supplement at all and they needed to take other things altogether. But generally, if you are ill, you are going to have to take a variety in some quantity of nutritional supplements. That's because these are foods, and you've got to feed yourself the things that the body needs. One of the things I always say is that the basics of natural health care is weed and feed. Weed out the bad things and feed yourself the good things. Now, weeding out the bad things may require that you take some supplements to help you detox and help you get those things out of the body. So, weed and feed, both components involve taking in usually large amounts of nutritional supplements. Now, you can take those in the form of tinctures, you can take them in the forms of pills, and there's even drink powders, which are wonderful and a great way to get good nutrition, especially for those who may be bedridden or may have problems with vertigo, dizziness, weakness, inability to stand and cook, unavailability of help. These things may lead one to be able to very effectively use powdered drinks that provide lots of nutrition. And you can use green drinks, you can use protein drinks. There's all kinds of different drinks and powders out there that are just mixed with water and go. I recommend lots of green drinks, and to make those tolerable with the flavor, you can always add them with some red drinks or berry drinks. things of that nature that can help those go down. But they're very helpful to people who especially are having trouble getting food. Now, another thing that I want to talk to you about in this segment is how when you go through these cleanses, this weed and feed, and you begin to do research, you may see information on the internet and even on the supplement bottles about dosages and side effects. And I want to encourage you to please speak to healthcare practitioners or nutritional advisors, or even do your own research. And don't be afraid to play with your own body as far as, pushing it to the limits on detoxing and cleansing, and what are the limits of this supplement that are tolerable for me. One of my favorites to play with is magnesium. Many people, almost everybody, is deficient in magnesium. And magnesium is such a valuable nutrient for the body. You just need it for so many processes. I believe, as a matter of fact, there's over 300 processes that need magnesium in the body in order to properly come off. So magnesium is one of my favorites to play with, and sometimes I'll tell people, maybe you should take some to push yourself into diarrhea to see what your limits of taking the magnesium are. Maybe you need higher doses than other people are recommending. And so if you try that, especially, only really I recommend with a magnesium citrate or a magnesium oxide, that you test your limits, take a little bit more and a little bit more to see how much it takes to push the body into a loose stool or diarrhea. And for many people, it doesn't even hurt to go ahead and push through a cleanse and have that diarrhea for a week or so, especially if it's very foul and smelly, because that will tell you there is old food in there that is rotting, and you need to get this stuff out. So if you are having foul, smelly stools, one of the quickest, easiest ways to handle and detox that colon is with heavy amounts of magnesium citrate or magnesium oxide. Magnesium citrate is what they give you when you're going to have surgery the next day. It's a bottle of liquid. You can get it at your local health food store. It's a small bottle. Usually tastes like lemon lime is the best one. And you drink it. It's kind of like a lemon lime soda. I recommend drinking it chilled. It tastes much better, but you drink it the night before surgery to get cleaned out, to clean out your colon. And the reason they give you that in particular is because it floods the colon with water. And not only does it flood the colon with water, but it's going to grab other toxins from the body and help to expel them too. Not to mention those 300 body processes that you need that magnesium for. So my point to all this is, don't be afraid to push yourself into some things and to go through a little bit of discomfort, because it is going to happen along the way. As you go through this journey of health, one of the things that's going to happen is you're going to go through cleansing crises and healing crises. And we'll get to those in just a second. But one of the things I want you to be prepared for is to know that as you begin cleansing the body and healing the body, one of the things that often happens is, let's say the lungs begin to cleanse. When the lungs begin to cleanse, what's going to happen is the toxins that you're pushing out of the lungs are going to drop down, go into your blood system, which means then into your lymph, your kidneys, and your colon, and you may feel this as it drops down the body. So, first your lungs were hurting a little bit. Now they're feeling better, but, all of a sudden you're having lymph systems, or you're feeling it in your digestion or your kidneys. You're not properly eliminating now because you've dumped all these toxins on those systems. So those systems will now be overloaded. So whereas your lungs may be feeling better, your kidneys or your liver or your lymph system may be a little bit overloaded. And so you may at times find yourself almost chasing these toxins out of the body. So you feel them drop out of the lungs and they go into the blood system, they get into the lymph, and so you do a little cleanse on the lymph, and then your lymph feels better, and then they've gone right into the kidneys and bladder because you begin to feel it there. So then you may want to give yourself, a little bit of extra kidney and bladder formula. So just be expecting that may be one of the things that happens. And don't sweat it. Don't worry too much about it. One of the things that'll happen as well as you go through this process is that you can run into, I mentioned earlier, cleansing crises and healing crises. And we're going to talk about those. Now, the first one we're going to go into is the cleansing crisis. And when you get into a cleansing crisis, it is telling you it may be time for a little bit of a break on your detox. What's happening is, like we discussed just a moment ago, when the toxins leave one area and then they fall down into another area, and the cleansing begins there, and it may tend to build up. And you may feel some kind of what you interpret as a bad reaction. This may be a cleansing crisis, and I'm going to get to how you tell the difference between a healing and a cleansing crisis in just a minute. But let's just look at this cleansing crisis for right now. When you get into a cleansing crisis, the things that you can do to make it better is, like we said, number one, take a little break. If you're eating lots and lots of healthy food, like lots of vegetables, leafy greens, especially raw, drinking your green drinks, taking your probiotics, all of these things together may overwhelm your system to where you begin dropping toxins so fast that it becomes uncomfortable. And so you'll need to take a little break, and that may mean increase your water intake. You may want to back off of whatever healthy foods or supplements that you were taking for a minute. And honestly, I've seen it work wonders for people. I'm a big component of whatever works, okay? So I never throw anything completely out. If it works in one situation, then it's a valid therapy for at least something. So one thing that I have seen be effective for people is to go back to your unhealthy foods. I know it sounds crazy, but that's what your body is used to. And when you begin cleansing too fast, you can overload your organs. You can tax those organs, and you can cause a little bit of a shutdown or failure in those organs. So you don't want to push it to the point that you're detoxing too much and you're feeling miserable and sick. That's just not the way to go. You want to take your time. You want to give your organs time to function, time to get past all the toxins you're dumping on them by, trying to pull them out of the tissues and the fats and sending them through the organs. You want to give your organs a little bit of a break from all of that. So you may want to, as I said, increase your water intake, back off your supplements a little bit, maybe eat some of your what was regular food for you or comfort food, and just take a break for a minute until you start to feel a little bit better. At that point, you can go back on your program and you're going to feel a lot stronger and a lot better. So let's recap. The things that you're going to do for a cleansing crisis is increase your water intake, maybe back off your supplements, maybe go back to your regular foods, but just in general, take a little break. Give your organs time to work, give your body time to flush, and then you can move on. Now, we're going to go into the healing crisis as well. Now, the cleansing crisis we went over is when the body is cleansing quickly and has not had time to eliminate those toxins. The healing crisis is different. The healing crisis is when you have done some detox, you have fed the body some nutrients that it needs, and the body is now transforming into a healthier state. It's about to do some repair. And this gives you some indication into the difference between a healing crisis and a cleansing crisis. We're going to go into now the difference in how you know which is which. Your cleansing crisis will always, generally always, come on slowly. Over the period of a day to several days. You'll begin to start feeling bad. You're just not quite as perky, don't quite have the energy. You may begin to experience some swelling, bloating, lethargy, just generally not feeling as well. It may develop into headaches, tummy aches, things like that. But it's going to develop slowly. Now, your healing crisis is going to come on instantly. Bam! And the one indicator for healing crisis, the main indicator for am I dealing with a healing crisis, is immediately preceding a healing crisis, you will always experience a feeling of being on top of the world. Now, that on top of the world feeling, I have to apologize, my dog is coughing, she's sick. Or actually, she's healing. She's not sick, she's healing. But the healing crisis will always be preceded by this on top of the world feeling, which can last for any part of a day to usually up to a day, sometimes two, usually not. Usually it's just a day or some portion within a day. Like I said, it can be 2 days. A lot of times if it is 2 days, that second day is not going to quite be as great, and then that third day, bam. Oh. So when you do feel bad, when you're going through a natural healing process and you do begin to feel bad, I want you to first think back. How did I feel before I felt bad? When did I start to feel bad? And how did I feel just before that? How long did it get me to feel this bad? Was I on top of the world yesterday and today, boom, I don't want to get out of bed? Or, have I been kind of slowly going downhill over the last few days? That's going to be your indicator as to whether it's a healing crisis or a cleansing crisis, because your healing crisis is always going to be preceded by a feeling of being on top of the world. You're going to feel great, your body's going to feel great, your head's going to feel great, you're going to be in a great mood, positive, everything's going to be great, and then boom, wow, what happened? Healing crisis. Now, the reason I believe that you feel so great before a healing crisis is because the body is now being flooded with all of the chemicals that it's going to need to do this little repair. So you feel great because your body's being flooded with all of these wonderful restorative chemicals that your body's releasing. You're being flooded with those, so you feel great. And then once your body is flooded with those chemicals begin to go to work on healing the body, doing the actual restorative work. And when that happens, the body sends all of its energy to do that. And so now you're not spending energy on making any of these chemicals or really doing any kind of other bodily process other than trying to do this repair, whatever the repair is that the body is working on. So that's what your healing crisis is. It's, everything kind of shutting down to focus on this repair, whatever it is. Now, the way you deal with a healing crisis is first you have to recognize it. You have to go, wow, I was feeling really great yesterday, and now today, bah, wonderful. This is great. This means I'm getting somewhere. This means it's working. This means I'm on the road. And usually by the time you get to this point, you've already been through a cleansing crisis or two. And I hope that when you went through those cleansing crises that you saw that as a positive sign as well. Again, with the healing crisis, just like the cleansing crisis, you are going to want to increase your water intake. And you want to do healthy things like breathing deeply. That helps flush toxins. Getting water helps flush toxins. And you want to rest and give your body that downtime that it needs to do this repair. Okay? Because now you've given the body what it needs to do the repair. The body has started the repair. Now's not the time to go mountain climbing. Now is the time to rest, relax, and let your body heal. Let God and God's medicine, God's wisdom in your body and your body all together work together to do your healing. Now's the time to just rest, recover, drink water, read, relax, and heal. Now, the next thing that you need to know when working with God's medicine and healing your body naturally is as above, so below. And generally, natural health care practitioners subscribe to a belief, and have seen it witnessed many times, that the order in which you got sick is the order in which you will repair, but only in reverse. So, the last symptom that you got will probably be the first symptom to go when you start to recover. Which means also the very first symptom that ever manifested will be the last one to go. So, as you begin working with these natural medicines and such, just remember that you will go through stages, that you will work your way backwards, and eventually you will end up back at the beginning and in total restored health. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you about in using natural medicines is getting in touch with your star player. Now, what I mean by that is you need to focus on you if you are dealing with a health issue. And you need to surround yourself with people who will make you the spotlight. People who will bring sunshine and positivity around you. You got to get rid of the negativity. You got to get rid of the people that bring you down and make you feel bad if you're going to get well. And I hate to say that because a lot of you are sick because of the negativity around you. And you may not recover until you handle it. It's just the facts. So you need some Will Smiths in your life that are recognizing you as a star player. And you need to recognize yourself as a star player. Get rid of the negative people and surround yourself with Will Smiths who just make you feel good. Because feeling good and a positive mental attitude are going to have so much to do with your recovery you won't even believe. And if you think I'm kidding, start getting well and then let somebody negative come around and you'll see if you don't have a quick little relapse. It happens every time. Gee, you know, my sister-in-law that always makes me feel bad when she comes around was just here yesterday, and today I'm sick. Well, go figure. So, do not be afraid at this time to clean the closets, so to speak. Don't be afraid to clean out your space of people, negative things, negative memories, negative thoughts. Think on lovely things. That's what you've got to do. Focus the mind on lovely things. Look at lovely things. Think of positive stories. And just to give you an example, let's see if I can show you on my computer actually where I've been all this time. If you look up the very top now, you'll see where I've been getting a lot of these graphics from. Real Good News is a project of the Church of Works, and it's a great place to go to just feel better. There's great good news stories, real good news stories, but, you know, there's also funny, weird, truth, cool. Lots of good things to look at there, so that's a real good resource, actually, for finding lovely things to dwell on. You know, look at awesome people on YouTube. Look at inspiring people on YouTube. Read lovely stories. Watch movies that have good endings. Listen to 1970s love songs and 1980s love songs. Sweet, happy stuff. Meditate. You know, and all of this leads me to our last point, which is your 6 best doctors. You know, meditate, get fresh air, exercise, water, rest. You know, we've talked about diet a little bit, sunshine. All of these things are going to be important to your recovery and good health. So don't forget to practice all of these things as you recover. And remember, you know, forgive your practitioner, give them a chance. If you are your own practitioner, forgive yourself as well. There's probably going to be a learning curve here for you to go through. So whoever it is, whether it's yourself or somebody else, be prepared to to forgive. Be prepared to forgive and be gracious and understand that, you know, you did not get sick overnight and you're not going to get well overnight. This is a process and it takes time, and it may take somebody, even yourself, if you're your own practitioner, some time to wrap your head around what's actually happening here. It may take some time to figure out what's going on and come up with a solution. So remember these things. A quick recap. You know, you want to forgive your healer. You want to remember that it may take many supplements to get you well. When I first got sick and I started seeing an MD who practiced only natural medicine, I was taking over 60 supplements a day. And I was taking many of those 3 times a day. I was drinking so many tinctures that it was like drinking about a shot and a half of alcohol 3 times a day. And I don't drink, so that was very difficult for me. And I can remember whining to my boyfriend at the time, I don't want to drink it. It's going to make me feel drunk. And he said, I know, but you got to do it. And so we would let it air off as much as we could so that I wouldn't get so much alcohol. You know, and I would, you know, sometimes eat a little piece of bread with it. But it was what was necessary, and I did it, and I got better. So I want to encourage you to remember that while you're getting well, just like your treatment with a medical doctor, you are going to go through some things that will be uncomfortable. It would be the same if you were with a medical doctor. The difference is that he would probably, you know, maybe doing more harm than good, whereas God's medicine and God's wisdom will do more good than harm. So either way, either route you go, you're going to experience some discomfort. And I just encourage you to stick with it, recognize whether you don't have the right supplements or you don't have enough supplements. Recognize when your symptoms are dropping down through the body to be released. Recognize when you're going through a cleansing or a healing crisis. And recognize as your healing progresses. Recognize that you may be going through a progression of symptoms just like you did when you got sick. You'll go through those in reverse, so be looking for that as well. So, those are my must-know items on the basics of dealing with God's medicine and natural health care. If you stick with these things, you are going to be able to find restored health. And I wish you all the luck. As I said, we will be in my very next issue. I know any of you who have stuck with me from the beginning have been waiting for this. I give you a little morsel in each video, what I can as I go along. But my very next video, we're going to start going into what are some supplements for specific conditions. So we'll get into very condition-specific things in our very next issue. I'm looking forward to it. I'm getting more excited as we go. The beginning was not real fun for me, having to get some initial stuff out of the way, but we've done that. We made it through. We're here in the basics. We've gotten through our basics. Now we're going to move on to learn even more about specific conditions and specific nutrients. So I can't wait. I'm excited. I'm glad you're all here joining me, and I hope you join me for our upcoming videos. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course share. We appreciate you. We love you all, and we'll see you next time.